Hello guys, Luke here and welcome back to Sea of Thieves. Now in today's video I will be showing you 5 handy tips and tricks in Sea of Thieves to help you better plunder the open seas. Now some of these might be a little simple and trivial, like a lot of players already know about a few of these, but there might be a few tricks here that you don't know about and that you might find very handy on your next voyage. Now the first handy tip of this video is going to be the sword thrust slash speed boost trick. Now a lot of you may not realize that a sword thrust attack actually has the same damage as a gunshot from a pistol or a blunderbuss. So it can actually be used very effectively when battling skeletons and players, especially the fact that it can take out many at once. For example, if you're using your pistol to battle skeletons, it cannot travel through other skeletons. It will only destroy one skeleton. The blunderbuss is a little bit handier, so to speak. I mean, the pistol does all that power in one shot, so it will usually one-hit kill a normal skeleton, but a blunderbuss you kind of have to be very close so that all the pellets of the blunderbuss, or most of them anyway, hit the skeleton of choice. Now, with the sword thrust attack, this will do the same damage as the pistol does, but it can do it to multiple skeletons in a row if you can line them up right. Now for example, I've got some footage here that you can see now of me using the sword thrust attack, and you can see how effective it is actually just rushing through skeletons. I actually find it very handy to jump backwards away from skeletons and then using the attack, because while you start charging your attack, you'll notice that you move very slowly while you're doing so, and you can also not turn 360 degrees while you're holding your sword charge attack down. So I recommend when fighting a large group of skeletons to simply jump backwards away, and in mid-jump start holding your right trigger or left mouse click to do the charged sword attack. And this will enable you to get some distance between the skeletons so they can't take a swipe at you before you actually unleash your sword thrust attack. Now the other use of the charged sword attack is actually a speed boost that you can do through water. So a lot of you guys may already know this because it's pretty common in the game now. It's in a lot of videos that you've seen on YouTube or Twitch, but basically holding down your charged attack when like ankle deep in water on the edge of a rock or on the edge of your ship, and then launching through to the water, you can actually travel extremely fast and for quite a long distance as well, until you eventually slow down and you have to swim the rest of the way. Just make sure that when you're doing it from shore, make sure you're in like knee deep or ankle deep water when doing it, because if you're standing on land and there is very shallow water in front of you, it treats it like a land attack, sort of like an attack on skeletons. You need to be at least like ankle to knee deep before doing the charged attack, and then you can get the speed boost back to your ship. Alright, on to handy tip number 2, which involves the compass. Now a lot of players probably underestimate the compass. It is actually quite a handy tool, especially when searching for treasure. For example, Gold Hoarder's Quest, where you need to dig up a chest from an X marks the spot on a map. Now the common practice for finding an X marks the spot on an island is usually to simply look at the map closely for points of interest and then find the spot where those sorts of things intertwine, and then you eventually find the dig spot. But the compass can actually come in very handy in this circumstance, because every map that you find, treasure map, message in a bottle, whatever it is, it always has north upwards of the map. So it's always the correct way up, if you will. Using your compass to help you find the treasure is actually very handy. If you're standing on the island of question that you need to find the treasure in, and there aren't that many points of interest that actually can help you find the X on the map, you can simply use your compass. Make sure you face north while holding the compass. Bring up the map of the island. Remember that you are facing north and the map is north upwards, and then it will make it a lot easier to find the X, as I can show in the footage that I'm showing right now. So yeah, only a very short tip for you guys, but yeah, the compass can actually come in quite handy. Now onto my third handy tip of the video, the anchor on your ship, whether it's a galleon or a sloop. The anchor is seen to be sort of an emergency stop by most pirates, but it also is used quite regularly to stop at islands. But I'm going to tell you today, guys, that you do not need to use the anchor when stopping at islands to gather treasure, or stopping at forts to collect supplies, or whatever you're doing. Actually, it is a better practice to instead raise the sails when you're approaching an island until you slow down enough, and eventually you can raise the sails all the way when you get really close, and then you'll slowly just sail to a complete stop. If you time it right, that's the downside of this method, guys, not using the anchor, is that you have to time it. But you eventually get used to it, and if you actually take some damage, like if you accidentally bump the shoreline and you get one hole, it still is quicker to grab a wooden plank, patch the hole, than it is to actually lift the anchor up, because that takes actually longer than patching a hole. So it is still better, even if it's your first time using this practice, it is still better to just take a few nicks here and there, fix them up, and eventually you'll get the timing right. Also, another bonus of not using the anchor, guys, actually a very big points of you not using the anchor is that if you need to, you can make a quick getaway from an island. So say you're at a skeleton fort completing a raid on your own or with friends, and you can see a galleon coming and you've already loaded your ship with treasure, then you can actually make a quick getaway. All you have to do is drop the sails, which is much quicker than raising an anchor. An anchor takes a very long time compared to just lowering sails, and then you can make a quick getaway before the enemy ship arrives. Now I'm sure if you've played or watched the game for a couple of hours, you've seen gunpowder barrels and what they can do to enemy players and enemy ships. Now they're actually very dangerous things to have on board your ship, but they're also very handy. For example, you can use them in defense. If it looks like an enemy galleon or sloop is going to catch up to you to try and steal your treasures, to try and fire cannons at you, you can simply drop gunpowder barrels off the back of your ship in the way of the enemy ship, and when their ship actually runs over the gunpowder barrel, it will actually detonate and explode, put a couple of holes in their ship. I think it puts around 3 or 4 holes in their ship per barrel. So actually dropping a few of these barrels off the back of your ship is very handy defense maneuver. Now gunpowder barrels also prove their worth in offense, of course. You can grab one, jump off your ship, jump onto the enemy ship, put it down in their lower decks, and one shot away from completely decimating the lower half of the ship. Or if you are not for some reason able to climb the ladders to get up on their ship from the water, you can instead swim under the ship, drop the barrel with either the X key, which is the drop key, or it's B if you're playing Xbox, and you can simply drop the barrel. When it makes contact with the underside of the ship, it will automatically explode. You don't even have to shoot it. When it's in the water and hit by another vessel, it will just automatically explode. So very handy offensive and defensive maneuver using the gunpowder barrels. But you guys probably have also heard of skeleton strongholds or forts, where they have a skeleton cloud skull in the sky that illuminates its eyes with green or red or orange or whatever, or yellow, and you go there to fend off waves of skeletons, and there are lots of gunpowder barrels around. When there is not a raid or stronghold happening in the world, those forts are still laden with gunpowder barrels. Now if you're traveling on a voyage to do a mission or just find shipwrecks or whatever, and you actually come across a fort, it is handy to just stop at a fort quickly, grab a few of these gunpowder barrels, jump back aboard, and then you've got defensive or offensive options then when battling other ships. If you come into battle with another galleon, it's quite a good idea, again, if they're chasing you, to drop some off the back, or if you're chasing them, or you're not really chasing each other, you're just like firing cannons, then one of you can go aboard with a gunpowder barrel, blow up the ship. So yeah, the basis of this tip is that these forts, they're always there in the world, even when there's no raids going on. The gunpowder barrels are there. You don't have to worry about skeletons either. The forts, when there's not a raid or stronghold happening, there is actually no skeletons on these islands, so there won't be any cannon fire by skeletons coming at you when you're approaching a fort. You can safely and simply stop your ship as using tip number 3 with the anchor. You can glide in slowly, not use the anchor, pick up a few gunpowder barrels, turn your ship around, and go to where you have to go. Also, this is a good way of selling to the merchant as well. Of course, you don't have to use gunpowder barrels if you don't want. You can sell them to a merchant, although they are not selling for very much. They sell for between 100 to 200 gold per barrel, so not that much. But some of the forts you come across can have up to 8 or 9 gunpowder barrels, so you can make a quick like 1,000 to 1,200 gold if you wish to just pick up a couple of gunpowder barrels. So this is almost as much as getting one decent skull from the Order of Souls quest. Instead, you can pick up like 7 or 8 gunpowder barrels, sell them to a merchant, and you'll get about the same as a skull. In preparing for this video, I went to a fort to collect some gunpowder barrels. Unfortunately, I only came across 4 or 5 gunpowder barrels at one of the forts, but you can find up to 8 or 9 gunpowder barrels at these forts. So stock up if you like. Again, use them for defense or offenses. They're very handy. Alright guys, for my number 5 tip, my final tip for the video, we have the shovel put away / draw trick. Now you would have noticed if you're carrying an object like a skull or a chest, if you want to put it down, you either press X if you're on PC, the X key will drop the chest or skull, or if you're on Xbox, you press the B button and that drops it, whatever you're holding. And if you're brandishing a weapon like a sword or a blunderbuss, the B key on the Xbox controller or the X also holsters it or puts it away. And we're going to use that ability here to actually dig treasure twice as fast as you normally would. You all would have seen now when digging up treasure from a treasure map, it takes quite a while for the animation to actually finish digging. So when you dig your shovel into the ground, your player then scoops it up and then he hesitates for a moment. He hesitates for maybe to catch his breath or whatever, but we're gonna not worry about your character's breath. We're just gonna dig it up as fast as we can using this handy trick. Now whether you're on PC or Xbox, this trick works the same way. It's just different buttons. As I said before, the Xbox One controller is the B button to holster your weapon or drop, and on the keyboard for PC, it's going to be the X key. So what you need to do for digging treasure twice as fast, when your shovel lifts the bit of treasure slightly, you'll get that moment when your shovel starts to lift up the treasure. straight away you're going to want to hit the drop key twice. So again, on keyboard you want to hit the X key twice very quickly. This will holster your shovel and bring it out straight away again quickly. On Xbox, press B twice. This will holster your shovel, bring it out again very quickly. And then you can dig again straight away. You don't have to wait for the actual animation of the digging to finish. And this will allow you to dig treasure up twice as fast as you normally would. This is very handy, of course, because you've got usually a bunch of skeletons that spawn whenever you find a chest. So you dig your shovel into the ground, you can hear the sound of the clunk when you hit the chest, and normally you have 3 or 4 skeletons to deal with after you find a chest. But using this shovel put away and draw trick, you can actually quickly dig up the treasure, grab it, go back to your ship without having to deal with the skeletons at all. If you didn't do this and waited through the animations, the skeletons would be attacking you while you're trying to dig. Also, of course, this is handy when trying to get treasure before other players get to the island where you are to attack you. You can quickly get up that treasure using this trick, get it back to your boat, and escape before the players get to you while you're stranded, while your ship's just waiting to be sunk by cannon fire. Now, I know this has been already 5 tips in this video, which is reflected in the title of the video, but I'm going to add a bonus tip, and a lot of you guys will already know this tip, of course. In your adventures island hopping to find treasure and skulls, you've come across snakes, wild snakes that will poison you if you get too close. They'll bite you and damage you as well over time, which is quite annoying. Now, if you need to get to something that's close to a snake and you don't want to be bitten or hurt, you can actually use a trick. You can get out a musical instrument, either one will do, start playing it near the snake. The snake will actually start to dance, so basically you're charming the snake. And what this allows you to do is sort of distract the snake while you're picking up whatever you want, like picking up stuff from a barrel or digging a treasure chest. Of course, if you're digging a treasure chest, you can use the shovel put away / draw trick that I just told you, the previous trick, and you'll get it up super quick without the snake biting you at all. Of course, the snake will only dance so long after you finish playing the music. So after you finish playing the music, the snake will still continue to be charmed, so to speak, for another, I don't know, about 10 seconds or so. It's quite a long period. It doesn't stop dancing straight away. It doesn't become violent straight away. It actually takes quite a long time, between 5 and 10 seconds on average. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of you guys already knew that you could charm snakes because, of course, through the Merchant Alliance voyages, you need to collect snakes in baskets, and this is one very good way of collecting them without getting bitten. So anyway guys, that's going to do it for my handy tips in Sea of Thieves video. I hope that these prove useful in your future voyages across the open sea. If you did enjoy, please leave a like down below, subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you guys around the channel. Alright, have a good one.